On our second morning in Honduras, I had a dream that I was once again in the magnificent, indescribable joy of the Harazim Church worship service that we had been blessed with the day before. The soul-filling music and lyrical dance, powerful prayer and passionate language, and people joining together in praise. It was so moving that I don't think I will ever forget the experience, and I long to return to it again. In my dream, we were asked to speak about why this mission mattered to us personally. Through halting words and tears, I struggled to say, I have always had a heart for helping others, especially children. But this mission, this trip, this place, it changed my life. A woman asked, if you are willing, can you tell us why? Before I could answer, the sound of my alarm woke me to another new day in Honduras. Rather than hit the snooze button as I usually, always do, I instead arose immediately, happily refreshed. I wanted to learn why and how this mission trip, this week, this place, might change my life. As you might guess from the children's message, I've been an educator for a while. 30 years. I've known for a long time that God called me to serve children, especially those who need a voice, an advocate. So I knew from the very beginning of this trip that I was called to serve children in some way in Honduras. But would it change my life? I simply couldn't predict. There might be the easy answers. Maybe it was just to engage and bring joy to the 100 or more children we encountered during the week's 4 medical brigades. This comes easily to me, and certainly brought pure joy to me, to see every day the smiles and hear the laughter of so many children as we played and sang, colored, made crafts. But would it change my life? Or maybe the time I spent at Harazim Christian School, in preschool, kindergarten, and first grade classrooms, reviewing curriculum and minimal instructional materials, and talking with teachers and Emma, the school's director. I was deeply honored to be asked to help, excited to be able to provide them with a few books and supplies, thanks to the generosity of so many in our church community, and hopeful that our peace community can lend support in the years ahead. But would it change my life? Maybe it was the simple gift of time with my own daughter, sharing in this rare experience together in a world far away from our everyday distractions and roles. It certainly did change our relationship, brought us closer, opened up our communications, strengthened our understanding of each other, and deepened our faith. But would it change my life? So what was it that could change me in the midst of being called to serve some 3,000 miles from home? A few times during the week, I was called on by Dr. Nancy to talk with a mother or aunt or grandmother about a child's problems in school. In the process of meeting with a family, with the help of our wonderful translator, Claudia, I listened as they shared their struggles: alcoholism, abandonment, abuse, anger, poverty, or a child's withdrawal and depression, difficulty with learning, or short attention span. In those moments, I quickly considered how to respond in some way that might help, sharing a little something out of my professional tool bag, just as Nancy shared hers from medicine, Kara in physical therapy, or Michael in construction. It wasn't much, maybe, but there was always something I could offer. I also just listened, reassured, and encouraged, and often saw a glimpse of relief in a woman's eyes just by doing so. And always, we prayed together. That was definitely not part of my professional tool bag, and rarely something I have ever shared with others before, except in church or at the dinner table. This was different. It came from my heart. It came naturally. And I began to cherish these moments of prayer. I realized very quickly in these conversations that we were encountering universal truths. Parenting is hard, sometimes heartbreaking. Children often struggle with learning or feeling good about themselves. And there are no quick fixes or easy answers to life's hardships anywhere. But there are also other universal truths, ones that can make a difference in human understanding, coping, and healing. The truth that God is here for all of us, no matter who or where. And the truth that we are put here on this earth to help others with our hands, hearts, minds, and faith, to share God's love with one another. In the clinic at Harazim Church, I fell in love with little Haley, a 4-year-old girl who first stole my heart with her dirty face, bare feet, and inner beauty shining through her smile. Her mother, Jessica, came up to me as I played with Haley and her siblings. She sat beside me and we looked for ways to communicate across our language barrier. In my very minimal Spanish, I told Jessica that her children were beautiful, and she beamed, showing several missing front teeth, but a warm smile, like her little daughter Haley's. I witnessed that smile many times in the subsequent hour we spent together. When I asked Ronnie, our translator, to help us talk for a few minutes, Jessica told me that she was drawn to me in particular, that she saw the love of Jesus in me. She wrote me a note with a crayon from the art supplies in childlike lettering that Ronnie had trouble deciphering. She drew a heart and wrote that she loved me, and mi familia es su familia. My family is your family. I gave Jessica the wooden cross I had bought that week, knowing somehow it was meant to be hers. Even though Jessica had walked with her young children for an hour to the clinic, she lingered on after the clinic closed and we had said several goodbyes. As dusk began to settle, I couldn't understand why she waited, and I worried that there was something she or I had misunderstood. Only when the final team members and I left the church, Jessica finally stood, picked up her bag, and collected her children. I realized she had been waiting for a final wave goodbye as I left the church. As I began the steep ascent down the hill, I cried out to God, and tears began to fall. How do you explain the power of a relationship such as this that can form in almost an instant without the help of a common spoken language? Is it simply the language of the heart? Or the power of a faith that calls us to act and serve and love and pray, regardless of what is in our tool bag, to shine as God's light in the darkness? I will never know for sure what Jessica saw that resembled the light of Jesus in me in that hour, but I know what I felt. Somehow it made a difference in both our lives, that I traveled 3,000 miles and she walked that long and dusty hour to be there, just to be present together with each other that afternoon. I know that she walked home with her children that evening, carrying a bag of much-needed vitamins and medicines. I also know that we both traveled home that day with the incredible love of Jesus filling our hearts and the radiant joy of sharing it with others. Yes, this moment, this mission trip to Honduras, changed my life.